Welcome back. I am here with Pedro Sardo. He is the Executive Vice President of Operations for Vodafone. You just saw him in that video. I'm seeing you live,
yes.
though. that was interesting to see you and come back, and you look the same, though. You look good.
All good.
Now we've had you join us at CloudWorld, but also in London, right?
In London, exactly.
At our CloudWorld tours. So welcome back. Always good to have you. I wanted to just start out with, I think Vodafone for most people is a household name, but maybe let's just go back and revisit history and talk about the evolution of Vodafone and how would you define, what you are now versus what Vodafone was then?
Okay, look, we are a telecommunications company. We provide telecommunication services, we provide fixed, mobile, TV, IoT services. And we are basically present in Europe and Africa. We serve around 300 million customers. And I completely understand that most people know us from our consumer brand.
Right.
But actually, Vodafone Business is a very critical area of growth for us. It's something that we have been growing, it's something that we have been investing. It's one of our critical areas of growth, going forward. But as telecommunications and communications have become a bit more of a commodity, we have started looking also at adjacent areas to our telecommunication business to start growing and to start looking for additional revenues. A couple of examples is, of course, our IoT platform. It's again the biggest IoT platform. Again, it's recognized by Gartner as the leading in the market. Again, even in Africa, we are very, very, very strong in financial services. We have M-Pesa, which is a platform that is used for over 15 million people to do everyday payments. Even in Europe, we have solutions for device financing. So we are kind of also expanding into areas that are very close to our telecommunications business. And maybe that is something that people do not yet know about or how we operate.
Yeah, for sure. I think when people think about telecommunications, you're right, they think about as a consumer,
yes,
what they use on their mobile phone, but there's certainly more to it. And we're hearing a lot of businesses needing to expand their business models. Telecommunication industry is obviously one of those. What has led to this transition to become more of a software-led and even a cloud-based company?
Okay, look, I think that in all industries, software is becoming critical, okay? Even in our industry, we talk about a lot of our core network is now becoming virtual, okay? It's not just the typical boxes that we had that were closed systems that we had from the network providers, but now are becoming virtual elements like any piece of software. Again, we even have we sold solutions that we call SDN, software-defined networks.
Right, I remember that.
So software is really becoming embedded into everything that we do. We have, let's say, a strategy internally that we like to say that we are focused on customers, simplicity, and growth. And software is key to all of these. Customers, because again, we want to provide a better customer experience to our customers. And we do that a lot through how we, for instance, how we do build our digital journeys, how they interact with us, and software is critical for that. Simplicity, because we want to simplify our internal operations. And again, there are multiple things that we do that, again, some way or shape or form, they will always rely on software. And then growth, because again, we also want to grow. And then for us to grow, it means about developing new products, new campaigns, new solutions for our customers. So really, software covers all of these and enables us to do all of this. Cloud is something also critical for it. We've understood a long time ago that, and we've defined as a strategy that we want to move all of our applications to the cloud, or at least on the IT side. And we do that for a variety of reasons. We think that the automation that we can get on the cloud enables us to be much more agile, reduce our time to market in developing new products and services. It's more efficient, because if I don't need solutions and servers running during the night, I can shut them down and then turn them up in the morning to scale. Again, this week we have iPhone launch. iPhone launch is one of our biggest events of the year in terms of people wanting to come to our website and buy products. It helps us on things like infrastructure resilience and managing life cycle of the infrastructure. So look, it's something that we've decided we really want to migrate all of our IT infrastructure to the cloud.
let's talk about that sort of journey to consolidate and even modernize your infrastructure. Can you talk about some of the key aspects of this multi-year journey?
Yes. Look, I think that we have been doing a really great job of everything that we have a new application, putting it work directly on our cloud providers. Where we have not been doing such a great job is maybe when we talk about our legacy applications. And that's where we probably struggle to find the mechanisms to modernize those applications. And that's where the relationship that we built with Oracle, and again, some of the projects that we have been doing together, like we have created 6 DRCC regions in our data centers. And that is really good because it enables us to modernize the applications in steps. I can modernize the database and modernize the application a bit later. And then, look, it gives us optionality. In a couple of years, once all of our applications potentially will be in DRCC, to just move them over to the public cloud. So this strategy that we have been working also with Oracle and some of our other cloud providers to modernize our infrastructure is really a key initiative for us.
So that's interesting. I mean, we heard Safra talk on stage about, the different types of clouds we offer,
yes.
And these kind of solutions allow companies to do it at their own pace,
yes.
In environments that feel safer for what they're doing, experiment, and then, as you say, move more and more of it to something like a public cloud.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very exciting. She also talked a little bit about multi-cloud. We've been talking about that a lot here, and I know that Vodafone was one of our very early customers when we started to move to a more multi-cloud approach. Can you talk about why that multi-cloud approach is so important to Vodafone's transformation?
Look, I would say probably it was over 5 or 6 years ago that we realized that the world was multi-cloud, okay? And we've created, actually, our cloud policy recognizes that, our cloud strategy recognizes that, and we try to define which type of applications we want running in which one of the clouds, because we are using, let's say, the big 4 clouds out there today, not just in a random way, but we actually have a strategy, and we want to leverage what is best on each one of them. And so, for instance, we use GCP for a lot of the analytics, we use OCI for a lot of the Oracle data loads, we use Microsoft for a lot of the Microsoft cloud. There is a reason why we selected each one of these clouds. And when we talk about things like Oracle at Azure, and because Oracle is such an integral, the database is such an integral part of a lot of our applications, that was something that was really critical to us, because we have been working also really hard with Microsoft in the migration of a lot of our a lot of our applications, and that partnership between Oracle and Microsoft was the first one where we did that partnership. It was absolutely critical for us to also agree a partnership with Microsoft.
Yeah, and that was the first introduction. And how does Oracle database running on Azure help your global customers?
It gives us choice. It basically gives us choice. I can select which is the best cloud for my application without having to worry, oh, but this is an Oracle database, it works better on Oracle. Again, it gets better support on Oracle. There are features that Oracle only makes available, like autonomous database, that only makes available on OCI. So look, this gives us optionality. I can select where to put the application, knowing that, again, I can always run the Oracle DB, which is for us, it's a really important point again, independently of the cloud that I'm using.
So we're also talking about customer success. Safra talked a lot about that as well. We just had Gary Miller heading up this kind of conversation about how we help customers succeed, and how is customer success services from Oracle helping Vodafone in this journey?
Look, I talk with Gary a lot, okay? Because Gary has been supporting us on this journey for a long time. I would say that probably it started over like 3 years ago, when we actually started the initial discussions with Oracle about establishing the RCCs and the Oracle helping us to modernize our infrastructure. And we spent a lot of time defining what success looks like, what we wanted to migrate, what we don't want to migrate, making sure that we have the sponsorship, and the customer success helped us in terms of building the narrative for us to get that broader support that we needed across Vodafone. And then once we went live, I still remember, I think that we signed the original contract in March. By the end of September, we had the first ERCC region live. On the first day, we migrate the first database into the ERCC, and 15 days later, we had the first production workload already running. So all of this was done in the partnership, and again, our teams, between Vodafone teams and Oracle teams, we work basically as one team. Again, we still have weekly meetings where a lot of our me, sometimes Gary, we go in and we participate and we discuss, because sometimes we have problems that we need to solve, sometimes we have to discuss things, but again, we still maintain that rhythm of working together as one team since we have been running this project for over 2.5 years now.
We talk about in customer success services our internally our total customer commitment. How do you see that coming to life through this relationship?
Look, a lot of times when I'm in those meetings, sometimes I don't know. I cannot understand directly if somebody that is talking sometimes is Vodafone or if sometimes is Oracle. Because again, they come together as one team. I don't see the blame culture, I don't see finger pointing. I see them working together, okay, we have this issue, how are we going to address this issue? And that is something that I think that we establish really well in the project.
That's great to hear. So what's next for Vodafone, and how are we working together to help you get there?
Look, we continue on our modernization journey. Okay, we have a lot of workloads to migrate to cloud. Again, we work directly with Oracle on the RCC. Again, we have a large project with Microsoft where we've just also signed a partnership with Oracle as part of that project also, so that we can also use Oracle at Azure. So it's basically to continue on this modernization journey so that all of our applications can benefit from the latest and greatest technology.
Great. Well, listen, we're still a little bit early here in the beginning of CloudWorld. What are you most excited to hear and see the rest of the week?
Well, I always like to watch Larry's session, which is coming a bit later.
That's right.
Okay, so to see what he's going to talk to. I also like the experience of coming to a place where there are other customers. We can exchange a lot of experiences. I'm talking with a lot of other Oracle customers, and it's great to understand what they are doing, share what we are doing, and again, just understand what the industry is doing. So
yeah, that's my favorite part too, is just hearing what everybody's working on. So, well, that's about our time here, but I'm wondering where we're going to run into each other next. We'll be in London. We're going to be in many cities in Europe, by the way. So
maybe London. Okay. London isn't easy for me.
All right. Well, I certainly hope we see you, and thanks for coming on Oracle TV.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.